Representative, welcome to the program here.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
I have heard the Republicans describe this legislative session as the most conservative one ever. And I want to ask you something. I don't normally start with somebody else's interview, but I heard you in an interview the other day, and you said a couple of things I really kind of wanted to clear up here. You said there's so much compromise going on. I think this was in America's Newsroom. I'm curious about the context of that statement. Is compromise bad in Austin?
It's not. I'm not talking about compromise between Republicans and Democrats. I'm talking about Republicans compromising their values in order to vote
within the party.
Within the party, and I think you can trace a direct line from that compromise to the increased size of the budget. We're having still exploding budget growth in the state of Texas, and until we've got spending under control, we're still going to we're going to struggle to get our hands around the property tax issue.
Well, that was my next question. You said there's not enough commitment to reduce spending. Is this Texas budget the biggest one ever? But is this overspending? I mean, I hear Republicans say, "Listen, the state's growing. We've got to address things."
Well, I think it would be wrong to say it's quote unquote overspending. I think we overspend in certain areas. So you look at important accomplishments in areas like water infrastructure and growing other parts of Texas's contribution to the economy. The thing that I think really rankles a lot of conservative Republicans is the increased commitment to corporate welfare and funding industries it shouldn't fund. Texas should be out of the business of Texas's business and let the economy grow on its own. I think the people who are running small and large businesses in Texas, they know how to do it best. They don't need the government's help. They just need us to get out of the way.
What are some things do you think that the next budget should exclude?
Well, it's not so much what it should exclude. I think we should be spending less discretionary money in the budget on trying to funnel it into industries like AI and cybersecurity and other things that the market does well. We need to be committing more resources and more of our lifeblood to reducing property tax, which is really something that is affecting every Texan.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me about property taxes here. One of your first priorities, like a lot of Republicans when the session started, was finding a new speaker. Republicans and Democrats, some Republicans I believe, settled on Dustin Burroughs. Again, I go back to what I started with here. A lot of folks say this was the most conservative session ever. What's your assessment of Speaker Burroughs?
I think the Democrats probably want a refund on that deal, if I had to guess.
I would bet so, yeah.
Yeah, I look at the achievements we made from a conservative standpoint, passing the Parental Bill of Rights, passing school choice, passing the China land ban with SB 17, and there's some big accomplishments to be thankful for there. I think if we are able to consolidate as Republicans around a speaker who is Republican, we'll get even better results next time. This is just one of those circumstances where you couldn't have seen the outcome coming. I think we got much better results than I would have anticipated at the beginning of the session.
One of the bills you're most proud of is House Bill 4623. It holds teachers and school districts accountable for abusing students. On the outside, I'm like, this seems like a no-brainer. How in the world was this not state law already?
Man, it was actually a way more tense discussion than you would think, Jason. And so what the bill does is it removes sovereign immunity from school districts for claims of sexual abuse against its professionals, whether they're teachers, janitors, school administrators. We have a sexual abuse epidemic in our public school system. I mean, on any given day, you can see 3 or 4 newly reported news stories about teachers sexually abusing students in the state of Texas. This is going to remove that shield of sovereign immunity and cause those school districts to actually put some skin in the game and be accountable to the people who are entrusting their kids to go to school there.
What was the genesis of this bill?
I just got mad. I was in a meeting with a representative of the TEA and another state representative, David Lowe, and we were talking about all the abuse reports that happen that quote unquote come down the conveyor belt from the school districts to the TEA. And there was no real means of accountability. And what I thought to myself as a lawyer was, if we just had access to the court system, there would be an incentive for the school district to do something about it. And praise God, we got it through the House and the Senate, and hopefully the governor will sign that soon.
You're not concerned that he might not sign it. He'll either sign it or it goes into law automatically, right?
That's above my pay grade, but I think there are very good reasons for the governor to sign that for Texans.
There's talk of a special session this summer to potentially redraw congressional districts in hopes of limiting losses next year on the Republican side.
Sure.
I've talked to Republicans who say, listen, we're afraid that if we redraw these districts in some places, we might be vulnerable as well. Is this a good idea?
I think it is a good idea. It always seems to me that politicians are a little bit more afraid of losing a chunk of their reliable electorate.
Right.
And you know what? We have enough room in this state to add seats. We've got to do it. It's not just for Texas, it's for the United States of America too. I think there's a lot of pressure from Washington to try to add these seats. It's going to be a good thing for Republicans, certainly.
Where would it be? What parts of the state do you think would be carved up more?
I think we'll pick up seats in South Texas and elsewhere too.
Any in North Texas? Is there room to carve up North Texas?
You know what? I don't know. I guess we'll find out as we get deeper into it.
You said you are considering running for Texas Attorney General. A couple names already in this race. How serious are you about this?
Well, I'm serious about the state of Texas getting the best lawyer it can get. As I've told other people, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. This is it would be a major upheaval to my life, my law firm, my family. I think the most important thing that Texans need to be thinking about right now is not who's in the race, but who is the best lawyer that the state of Texas could hire to fight all these battles it has to fight. I think many of the battles that Texas is going to face in the future are going to be legal battles. Yeah. I've been watching with great interest what's going on the national level between the United States and Palantir, and the use of data, the aggregation of data on American citizens. And we need to remember, whoever's the Attorney General, Texas is the client. Texans are the clients. And making sure that life stays good here and we retain our liberties and freedom here.
When do you think you'll decide whether you run for Attorney General?
I don't know. You'll be at least the fourth or fifth to know, Jason.
It's got to be the summer sometime. I guess it's one of the decisions.
Oh, no, it doesn't. That election's not till next year.
Yeah, but the filing deadline's later this fall.
Oh, I'm not too worried about that.
All right. What would an Attorney General Mitch Little look like, though? What would that look like?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, what would a priority be for you? What would priorities be?
Yeah, priorities. Honestly, the thing that I've been thinking about more than anything over the last 6 months is cleaning up the corruption that we have in Harris County and Houston. We have a great deal of integration between the politicians who are running Harris County and Houston. There's been overspending. There's been a massive push for universal basic income. I believe also misuse of public resources, misuse of prosecutorial resources. You know, a lot of the bail reform that we spent months and months doing in the Texas House was as a result of the abuse of the legal system by Harris County's district judges. I think we need someone in Texas who's going to enforce the laws here and ensure that Texans stay safe.
Is there anything on the agenda that didn't pass in the legislature this session you want to go back for next session?
Yeah, there was one thing that broke my heart, and if Governor Abbott does call a special session, the one thing that has broken my heart was the failure to move Senate Bill 2880. So Senator Brian Hughes brought a bill to essentially end the use of abortifacient drugs in the state of Texas. I think most Texans don't really understand abortifacient pills like mifepristone, misoprostol, RU486 is probably a name that people are familiar with. They're 10 times as deadly as a surgical abortion. And the problem is that they're getting prescribed out of state, they're being mailed into the state, no one has to even talk to a doctor. There are women that are resulting in sepsis. If you have an ectopic pregnancy and you take one of these pills, it could be highly dangerous. I think this is a practice that we need to end in the state of Texas, and I hope that Governor Abbott puts it on the special call if we end up having one, which it's sounding more and more like we will.
I want to ask you finally about THC ban. That's what everyone's talking about now. Is this, Governor Abbott's deadline is Sunday. What happens with this? Does he sign it into law? Does he? I know the House and Senate were different on whether the House wanted a more narrow version of it. The Senate said everything goes.
Yeah, Jason.
What do you think happens?
I don't think it was that the House wanted a more narrow version of it. As far as what Governor Abbott's going to do, my opinion could not buy you a cup of coffee on that topic. But what I will tell you is the grave concern that we had, at least as conservatives on the House side, was the ongoing use of the synthetic products by school-age children. They're being sold at vape shops. They're very close to schools, and they're extremely harmful. You have families telling us about stories of THC-induced psychotic disorder. That's a very real thing. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got low THC edibles that people are using and enjoying and upset about going off the market. So the problem is there's not a lot of room for nuance when you're in the middle of a legislative session. Things happen very quickly, and that's how we ended up with a ban.
What else? Well, let me ask you this last thing too. This is your first legislative session?
Yeah.
You've been around politics for a minute. Are you glad you got
minute.
For a few minutes?
Truly a minute.
Are you glad you got into to elected office?
I'm glad that I did because I feel like I was able to move the needle. I look back at some of the things that we were able to finally pass in the House this time. SB 17, the ban on foreign actors from buying our real estate.
Yeah.
China, Iran, Russia, North Korea. I look at the bail reform package that we almost got all the way done. Obviously, my SJR 87, it failed by 3 Democrat votes in the Texas House toward the end of the session. There were major milestones and achievements, and I felt like I could really affect the ball while it was in the air. And I'm glad that I was there to help. And that's really all any of us can do. There's 150 people in the House. You try to put all of your efforts into helping move things in a more conservative direction.
Representative, thank you for the time.
Yeah, God bless you. Thank you.